All right, there we go. Finally, let me go live. Here we go. So, a few things to cover before we jump, I guess, right into it. The big one, unfortunately, we got to start off with is Stuart Friesen. Stuart Friesen had a pretty bad accident last night, racing dirt in Quebec, I think, is where he was racing at, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, not not good. He suffered a lot of fractures and broken bones and stuff like that. He's going to go undergo some surgeries. He's in serious but stable condition, I think, is what his wife put out earlier today. So, unfortunate deal there. Thoughts and prayers go out to Stuart Friesen. No doubt about that. Just one of those unfortunate things, and just hope and wish for him to have as fast a recovery as possible. Very serious injuries. Probably will not see him race the rest of the year. So that is going to be a huge blow and very unfortunate. And the racing side of it, they'll figure out whenever. But right now, the main concern is getting him through those surgeries, and hopefully everything goes okay with that. Really, really terrible accident though. If you've not seen the video of it and you're squeamish, I would not watch the video, because it's pretty brutal incident as far as that goes. So no way to transition out of that one positively, but the Austin Hill situation has been resolved. He will be suspended one race, and he will get a waiver when he comes back, because he was suspended, but because he's going to use that waiver, he is going to lose all of the playoff points that he has built up thus far. So that is going to be a huge blow to him and his effort to win a championship. I don't think RCR is probably going to appeal it, but we will see. We will see if they appeal it or not. I don't think they will. Austin Dillon will fill in for him this weekend at Iowa, so that will be the backup driver as far as all of that goes. But I don't think there's really any doubt that what was going to happen happened. It's pretty obvious when you see him turn down there. It looked like he had at least semi-control of his car before he turned left. And look, I'm the biggest RCR homer that you will ever see. But that one was pretty cut and dry. He hooked him, and it was a bad incident. So that's not the type of track that you want to retaliate and give people payback at. Whole lot of speed there. So I think at the end of the day, no matter what type of politicking he was doing in the race car, no matter how believable the argument he made was, I think it was pretty obvious that was looked very intentional. Whether it was intentional or not, only Austin Hill will truly know. But it certainly looked intentional from the outside looking in. I don't think there's too much doubt in a lot of people's mind about that one. But yes, one race will lose his playoff points when he comes back. So he's got to stack up some more playoff points here as the season goes on, but no surprise there. And Jeff Gluck, a member of the playoff committee, as we just, I guess, found out this week, said that the talk in the playoff committee is that the playoffs will not be changing, at least significantly, for the coming up season. The playoffs have been a point of contention for about 2 weeks. Larry McReynolds, it started with Larry McReynolds and Daniel Trotta. They said that there's a driver on the playoff committee that has no championships. Which was, and not necessarily what they said, it was the tone of how they said it, and the illusion that it was Mark Martin, and some people thought it was Denny Hamlin. There was a lot of back and forth about that. That part of it, to me, was very high school. Even the delivery of it, we're not going backwards, we must move forward, that was very high schoolish. It's not necessarily what they said. A lot of people they like the playoffs. A lot of people dislike the playoffs. I don't think that part of it was necessarily controversial. But just the demeanor, and then Larry McReynolds, a lot of people took what he said as throwing shade, myself included, a driver with no championships, which is ironic for Larry Mack to be saying something like that, because Larry Mack has 0 championships, and some of his drivers were very, very good drivers, including Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Davey Allison. So whether he was talking about Mark Martin or Denny Hamlin, Larry Mack has the exact same amount of championships that they've got. So that was an interesting way to go about not naming who they were talking about. And at the end of the day, if you're on a platform like that, you might as well just name them. Just come all the way out, name them, and say what you got to say. Don't make it middle school drama ish about it. But anyway, that got the playoff talk started, and Jeff Gluck coming out and basically saying that right now the way it looks is there's going to be very few changes to the playoffs going forward. That's got a lot of people up in arms because NASCAR had basically alluded to the fact that they were really thinking about making some changes here, and a lot of people were holding out this hope that we were going to see significant changes. And Gluck's point is that NBC wants to keep the playoffs the way they are because they want that final championship race. So it seems like Gluck has outed NBC also as the main network behind wanting to keep the playoffs the way they are. So where we go from here, I don't know. You can't really boycott NBC if you want to watch the races, right? So what can you really do about it? I don't know. It's a difficult situation if you don't like the playoffs as they currently stand. Some people do like the playoffs as they currently stand. I was going to put that up as a poll question, but it seems like such a lame poll question because I don't think anybody necessarily likes the playoffs the way they are now. Even the people that like the playoffs, period, I think a lot of them don't necessarily like the way it's currently structured. I think it's down to either a 3 race or a 10 race. That seems to be the main point of conversation. But those are the main stories going on right now. So we'll jump into the chat and see what you guys want to talk about. Fun fact, Ryan Blaney is the only person to have won Iowa in the Craftsman Xfinity and Cup Series. There you go. There is your Iowa facts there from Jamie Schweitzer. Only Bowman Gray at 17,000 and North Wilkesboro at 19.8 have fewer seats than Iowa. So there you go. Iowa, the third smallest as far as that goes. So they should be able to sell that out pretty well with their capacity of 30,000. So appreciate you there, Jamie Schweitzer, getting us up to speed on your, we'll just call him Jamie Schweitzer's fast facts about Iowa. Thank you, Jamie, for the NASCAR lesson, says PC Gone Rogue. Indeed, PC, what's up, my friend? Hopefully I'm sounding good today on this one. Let's see. Looking for a Blaney repeat, says Tim Brace. It is a pretty good track for Blaney, so we'll see what he can get done there. On the way home this afternoon, Joey was on Sirius XM. He tested at New Hampshire and ran something like 600 laps. Will he be the favorite at New Hampshire, says Tim Brace? Not only do I think Joey Logano will be the favorite at New Hampshire, I would look for Ford to start their annual second half of the season where they look really, really good relative to what they have looked previously this season, currently third in manufacturers' points. I saw the Friesen incident as I was randomly scrolling YouTube shorts. Says in between the lanes. Yeah, it's a rough one. It's a rough one there. Lanes. Wise guy, what's up, my friend? Always good to see you on as well. Crystal Sparkles, what's going on? She's saying what's up to everyone as well. Jesse Daly, what's up, my friend? Hey, what's up, ED? I know you're a big RCR fan. Do you think Hill should have been suspended? I think from what we see, and like I haven't seen the SMT data, but it looked like, I mean, he's wearing white gloves. He turns left. It looked like the car was under control. Like I'm not sitting in the car, so we'll never know truly what happened. But just from looking at it, the eyeball test, it for all the money in the world looks like he turned left, right, and hooked him. So yeah, I would say he earned that one. And even if there was any doubt about it, if there was any fence sitting about it, when you come into the pit lane and you cuss out NASCAR, we've seen this with Kyle Busch before, actually. What Kyle Busch did might not have been that serious, but Kyle Busch got slapped with bigger penalties because he's sitting there cussing NASCAR. I think they held him extra laps one race or something like that, is what I'm remembering. Memory's not as good as it once was. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm thinking I remember a situation like that in the Xfinity series, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, cussing out NASCAR sealed the deal. I think he was going to get suspended anyway, but if there was any doubt, saying F you about NASCAR, I think that sort of sealed the deal. So yeah, I think he earned that one for sure. Kenny said it's a center steer mod. What's the difference between a normal modified? Says one wise guy. Oh, wow. So I'm not a dirt racing expert. I know a rear steer car, the steering is behind the motor mount. A center steer car, to the best of my knowledge, would be sort of with it. And front steer would be in front of the cross member where the engine is at. So to my knowledge, I think that's the That's just my best guess on that. So I don't know. I haven't seen a rear steer car in a long time. I don't know if they're illegal or what. So I just don't know. I don't know if rear steer or what's legal or not. But that will be my guess as far as the dirt stuff goes. But I'm not super super up to speed on how dirt setups work and all that. They got the 4-link rears and all kinds of weird stuff going on. I like to drive the car with the back end a lot as well. How is Austin Hill still eligible for the playoffs? He's still eligible for the playoffs because he's locked in, but he's lost all of his playoff bonus points because that was part of the rule that NASCAR enacted when they did the NASCAR waiver with essentially what is the Kyle Larson rule from the Indianapolis race. So that's kind of what's going on with that. Delmer Kaufman, what's up, my friend? Good to see you on here. BB, your thoughts on the San Diego 2026 race? I think it's going to be a really, really positive thing. I think overall it's going to be well received. You've got a ton of NASCAR fans that are super patriotic. I think racing at basically a military base is going to be super cool as far as that goes. So I think everything about it should be super positive. I don't think anybody's going to have any issues with it or anything super. Maybe some people that don't like road courses might not like it, but other than that, I think it'll be pretty good. I was going with the crazy pick of Austin Hill winning Iowa, but staying with RCR. I got Jesse Love Jr. winning the Xfinity Series, James Dennis Allen Hamlin winning in the Bob's Discount Furniture Toyota Camry. So there you go. Good picks. Good picks. Let's take a look real quick here at the Iowa stats, and surprise, surprise, Ryan Blaney with one race out of let's see here, race wins 1 for Ryan Blaney. So he's going to be your statistical average. Let's see, average rating. Let's see how they did a really good job. Let's see, last weekend for Indianapolis. DriverAverages.com is where I'm at. They're saying that Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Chase Elliott, and Josh Berry are going to be, and Joey Logano are going to be your drivers to watch here. So according to them, that's going to be sort of who you need to watch at the Iowa race. So there you go. Hey BB, hope you're doing well. What's up, Enzo? Hope you're doing well too, my friend. They were pretty snarky about it, says one wise guy. Yeah, that was probably the biggest deal about that. It's not necessarily what they said. It was just the sort of, yeah, like you said, the snarkiness, the arrogance, the I'm better than you because I think the playoffs are good, like mojo that they had going on with that, for lack of a better word. It just came off as very like high schooly, you can't sit at our table type bullshit. So it was just kind of I didn't like it. Really surprising. Larry Mack, he's going from America's crew chief to at times just paid NASCAR shill. You don't want to listen to him type stuff. The downfall of Larry Mack should be studied, or his likability at least. I feel like we, or at least I did, jinx the point system last week in the Discord because I was for sure they were going to make a change, but apparently not. Yeah, according to Jeff Gluck, they're not. So we'll see with the backlash. Do they change their mind? They're very NASCAR seems very sensitive to Twitter reaction. So we'll see if that's enough to get some changes to the playoff system. And don't get it wrong. There's a reason Jeff Gluck said what he said. He's trying to drive some energy. So stay loud about it. Keep complaining that you want to change, and maybe NASCAR will listen. BB, do you think Truex Jr. fills in? And make sure you do it on Twitter because that's the only thing they care about. BB, do you think Truex Jr. fills in for the injured truck driver? I don't know. I don't think so. But you never know. You never know. Anything is possible. But we'll see. We'll see. Who would they replace Stuart Friesen with? That's a great question. Man. Yeah, I don't know. Who could you reach out? Maybe Ryan Truex. Corey LaJoie, but he's already signed. I don't know if he has a manufacturer deal or anything like that either. That's a good question. You would have to I don't know. You would have to look in the Toyota development pipeline, I guess, and try to figure out somebody. Mark Martin was on Door Bumper Clear, says in between the lanes. Good. I'm going to have to actually check that one out. Hooray for Austin Hill suspension. Still putting the see you next Tuesday in Big Country, says Charlotte Ander. Charlotte Ander. Scrolling the channels, landed on True TV, hearing the TNT booth call Red Bull Soapbox Derby, says Sir Wood Rooster. Yay, there you go. Dale Jr. is a part of that. I can't remember who he does that with, but yeah, the Red Bull. I'm a big. I don't know about you guys. Are you big Red Bull Soapbox Derby fans? I like the Luftwaffen too. Let's see. That's a good poll question right there. I was supposed to have another poll question today, but I forgot what it was. Let's see. I'm not German, so I'll spell those as good as possible. So there you go. What's the better Red Bull event? That is the poll question. We've got it up. We're ready now. Let's see. They should have parked Austin Hill on Saturday, not a 5-lap penalty, says OJ and Toothpaste. That part, I agree with you. Like, if it's that egregious and NASCAR feels that it's that egregious, the 5-lap penalty, like, just park them. Just park them. So that was a bad look on that. And NASCAR's done that before too. So that's something that I think NASCAR overall just needs to clean up. Embarrassing that the guy in his 30s has absolutely no coping skills and lets his emotions drive the car, says Charlotte. Yeah, there's surprisingly a lot of drivers like that. Some come to mind that drive the 47 in one series. Bubba had quite a bit more fuel than we all thought, says one wise guy. Indeed. And that's the second time a Toyota has had way more fuel. So Toyota, talking about Chase Briscoe being the other one, Toyota has figured out something on the fuel game. Either that or Steve Letarte is just, which it could be. Steve Letarte is maybe just really bad at calculating fuel mileage. And with that being said, how many races should Dale Earnhardt Jr. have won on fuel mileage if Steve Letarte's that bad at calculating? I'm not a fan of Chase. I'm just joking. Steve Letarte's a better crew chief than me. Good for him. I'm not a fan of Chase either. I would rather incorporate a hybrid system where you go by season points, but also have elimination. Surely some smart people can figure it out, says Dirty Def. Well, the main thing they want for NASCAR, if NASCAR is looking at it, they want the regular season to mean something, and they want the playoffs to mean something. So, and they're into this idea of a bracket. So why not just break the regular season down into 4 sections, which would be about 6 races, right? Break the regular season down into 6 races, and then have 10 races for the championship, or just however you want to formulate it or format it. But then you just you get a final 4, right? You break the season down into 4, then you've got a final 4, and you promote and pump that final 4 for however many championship races they race, and that way nobody can say, hey, that guy didn't earn it, that guy didn't deserve to be there because that guy won, this 6 race portion. And if a guy wins 2 portions, you just give it to the guy that won, that finished second in the other portion of it. So that way you can't say that none of those drivers there aren't deserving of it, because they all earned it through the regular season to get there. So sort of like 6 qualifying races to get qualified for the championship, and you have 4 different rounds of it. So that would make more sense, and that's kind of like a golf setup, right? For certain golf events. So that's one way of doing it. There's all kinds of ways of doing it. You could do the old Jimmy Johnson system. A lot of people would like to see that. They think that system makes sense. A lot of people want to see a 3-race championship, the same way you've got it now, except instead of 1 race, you do 3 races for the championship, and that's where the final 4 are locked in. So there's any number of ways you can go about doing this. But for whatever reason, it seems like NBC is dead set, according to Jeff Gluck, is dead set on having a championship race because they want one clean finale thing that they can promote as far as a TV channel goes. So they're sort of treating NASCAR like reality TV instead of an actual sport, because they're looking at it from a TV perspective, and nobody in NASCAR, because they're taking all this money from NBC, has got the courage to come up and say, yeah, we're not doing that. That cheapens our sport, and our fans don't like it. So part of it is on NBC, but a bigger part of it is on NASCAR for not saying, you know what, F your money. We're going to run this thing the way we want to run it, because that's the best way to run it. Which is essentially what Big Bill France, he was, of all the things good or bad about him, that was one thing about him that absolutely made him stand out. as far as TV goes, dealing with drivers who were acting up and stuff like that. He wasn't afraid to be the bad guy. It seems like current NASCAR, they're more concerned about bringing in money than saying, hey, that's not good for our sport. We're not going to do that. They seem to cater to TV and not stand up, sort of jelly spined, in my opinion. Number 9, due for another win in prep for the championship run. It's good. We just looked at the stats according to driveraverages.com, so this should be a good track for him. Looks like Josh Berry is going to be sort of your dark horse as far as that goes. And the dark horse last week was Bubba Wallace from driveraverages.com. So they've been pretty on it. Doing a great job over there. So check them out. It's driveraverages.com. Help you set your fantasy team or whatever else you need driver statistics for. Just Wooten, I believe he is eligible due to his points position, but lost all of his playoff points and locked spot due to suspension unless NASCAR does the NASCAR thing and is inconsistent on the rules, says Charlotte. So there you go. He is still qualified for the championship. He's just going to lose all of his what essentially would be bonus points in the playoffs. If I'm reading the rule or understanding the rule correctly. I haven't seen the Stewart Friesen crash yet, says OJ and Tupe. It's rough. Yeah. Wise guy saying it's in the Discord. Yes, go check it in the Discord. It is in there somewhere. Austin Hill comeback tour. It says in between the lanes. Yeah, does this fire up Big Country to go on a tear? We've seen drivers get suspended and come back and just do really well. So does this give him some added motivation, some added drive, some added focus, whatever it may be, and comes back there and just lights it on fire? We'll see. We will have to see. I thought the 5-lap penalty Hill got was a weird number. Seems like one of the most laps I've ever seen on a penalty. Yeah, and if you're going to do him, if you're going to do 5 laps, just park him. Because I mean, at that point, you've got a driver that's already wrecked somebody, right? So he's already mad, and then you put him down 5 laps. And in Austin Hill's case, this particular time, he was obviously even madder. So now you've got a really angry race car driver that has already wrecked somebody on purpose, according to NASCAR, and now you've put him back out on the track. Just park him. So that's where I think NASCAR has some room where they need to clean something up there. Or is that standard, says Dirty Def? I think NASCAR has some type of protocol, but yeah, I think 5 laps is one of the bigger ones that I've ever seen. The last and only time Joey won Iowa was ARCA, if I'm not mistaken, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look that one up. I don't have those numbers right in front of me. I'm just going how driver averages, sort of formulates their overall who you should pick for this race and that race. NASCAR should be able to set up the San Diego road course to be wide enough to allow for passing and much better competition than what they had at Chicago. So yeah, it'll be a different type of street course than Chicago. Chicago were a very narrow, very technical track. I think this is going to be a more wide open track. It's because it's a I was listening to Breakard before we started here today. Breakard brought up a good point. There's going to be no elevation changes because it's an airport, right? Essentially. So there will be no elevation changes. It's just going to be flat out. Going to be probably using a lot more brake here, depending on the layout. So it'll be a very different experience than the Chicago street course for sure. Charlotte saying, I don't know that NASCAR will listen unless we start giving them money on the level they get from a TV deal. Hey, there you go. That's probably fairly accurate for sure. We are heading to the number 52 Toyota Tundra, says In Between Lanes. There you go. In Between Lanes has announced himself as the driver of the 52. He at some point he will announce to the 52 team because they're going to be the last to know as far as that goes. Prayers for Stewart Friesen, says James Waite, and then he says Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon going to be the driver for the number 21 this weekend. Do you want Danica Patrick in the 52 truck for Stewart? Says OJ and Toothpaste. Danica Patrick for sure. She's got record-setting numbers on Earth too, no doubt about that. Brett Cruz says In Between the Lanes. William Sawalich. Those are two really good names right there. In the both of them have driven in the Cars Tour for sure. William Sawalich would be a good pick for sure. Brett Cruz would also be a really good pick. I think both of those guys could get it done. I don't know. Butterbean, is Butterbean available? I don't know if his contract would allow him, but he would be a good one to pop in there as well. NASCAR owns the show. They're going to do whatever satisfies the broadcast networks, says Tennessee Smokey. Indeed. Indeed. But there was a time when NASCAR owned the show and they did what benefited NASCAR, not what benefited the TV networks, Big Bill France, back in the day. Just a different time, different way of going about the business for sure. Austin Dillon filling in for Austin Hill, says James Waite. I was thinking about who would replace Friesen in his truck. The two that makes the most sense to me are Ryan Truex and Taylor Gray. Yeah. So, we know Austin Hill is missing a race and Austin Dillon will fill in. We were talking about the 52 truck of Stuart Friesen, who unfortunately had a pretty terrible accident. I was thinking about who would replace Friesen in his truck. The two that make the most sense to me are Ryan Truex and Taylor Gray. Indeed. Those would be two good picks as well. Taylor Gray would be a good one. Just would have to figure out all the logistics of that. Larry and Danielle were very condescending, out of line. Didn't expect that, says MGM. Yeah, it just seems so uncalled for. And to me, like a lot of people thought it was about Mark Martin. To me, it lines up more with Larry McReynolds and his disgust for Denny Hamlin right now for whatever reason. Larry Mack is out here acting like he owns NASCAR and he's offended by everything that Denny Hamlin is doing. So it makes more sense to me that he was talking about Denny Hamlin, but who knows at the end of the day. Either way, it was a really, really just condescending way of going about getting your message across. And to say that he's got 0 championships when you've got 0 championships and he's got more wins than you, and your two drivers were Davey Allison and Dale Earnhardt, and one of the wins you had in your career was at North Wilkesboro with Brett Bodine, and it's not really a win. They just gave you that because they misscored something. I mean, there's all kinds of shade Denny Hamlin could throw back. It just seemed very high schoolish and petty for him to be throwing all that out there like that. So, whatever, man. Old people arguing on the internet is never not going to be entertaining to me, says an old person on the internet. I was thinking about who would replace Friesen in his truck. We just read that one. Let's see here. The Flutog and his gliders. Yeah, the Flutog, which I don't know if I spelled that right or not. That's when they do the airplanes, the gliders or whatever, to see how far they can glide. Same thing as soapbox, except they're just seeing how far they can glide as opposed to going through a course. So yeah, same concept. Just one's in the air and one is on the ground. Possible poll question: who will be, if any, the next first time in 2025 winner? Busch, Brad, Bowman, or Austin Dillon? Ooh, that's a good question. I would have to, and I'll try to pop that one up if we do another one this week. Let me just put first time winner here so I don't forget it, because I forgot to write the other one down last time, even though I said I was going to. Let's see, Bowman, Dillon, Kes. I would say Keselowski. So far with how they've looked, I would say Keselowski out of that group for sure. Bad Brad looking really good. No doubt about it. And Kyle Busch. I forgot to put Busch over there. Bushy. And they didn't get the finish, but RCR, after that pep talk from Richard Childress, they actually had speed at Indianapolis. Kyle Busch ran into somebody on a restart. He had good speed. And I think Austin Dillon also, the same thing happened to him. But before all the commotion with there was a lot of different strategies and stuff like that. But just on raw speed, they were both running in the top 15 on raw speed. So RCR answered the bell there when Richard Childress said, we need to start bringing some real race cars to the racetrack. They answered the bell for, didn't turn out that way, but they had the speed. Unfortunately, incidents didn't go their way, but they did. The shout out to RCR and the team down there. They answered the bell on speed for sure. Should have been parked for 2 races, says James Waite. So I guess that could have been a poll question. Should he have gotten a bigger suspension? No suspension. I guess that would have been a better poll question if I'd thought about it. So James Waite thinking he should have got 2 races because of the speed. I guess the speed of the track and the egregiousness of the incident. I don't think any current drivers should be on playoff committee. I can see where some people would be skeptical about what those drivers' opinions are. Too self-serving, says Dirty Def. Yeah, but I see where you're coming from with that. The counter argument to that would be you do need a voice of somebody who's actually going through it right now. So I can see both sides of I don't know which one is right, though. I can see both sides of the argument, though. But yeah, good. I can see where you're coming from. Good point there. And I think the counterpoint would be you need somebody that's actually going through it at the time to hear what their feedback is. So yeah. I can see both sides. Good question though. Good question. I can see both sides of the argument. Steve Letarte was the crew chief for Dale Jr. in the Coke 600 when he ran out and Harvick won. Said OJ and Tooth, and I was there. I was there for that one. Slowly crept behind with my Kevin Harvick T-shirt on, as I'd been razzing the junior fans all day because I was well lubricated, and everybody there was wearing a junior shirt, and I thought it was funny to just razz them. And then he actually ran out of gas, and I was like, oh, let me slowly fade away from this scene while nobody's paying attention and slide back to the car. The old point system wasn't perfect, and then the current playoffs, there was a lot of sad people that day. That is a fact. And I was not one of them because Kevin Harvick won in the Anheuser-Busch specialty paint scheme car. A good-looking car. Go look it up. The old point scheme, the old 2011 or 2012, I think it was 2011. The old point system wasn't perfect. And the current playoff system is broken, says Tennessee Smoke. Yeah, I agree. Those are both two very valid and good points. 100% agree with you. Steve Letarte needs to go back to pushing a broom, says James Waite. So James Waite holding nothing back here. He does not believe in the crew chiefing abilities of Steve Letarte. Do you believe we can get 3 more winners before the playoffs? It's that type of season. So, yes, I do believe it can happen. And if I'm Tyler Reddick, man, that would – and he's not one of those winners, man, I would be disappointed because Tyler Reddick is legitimately like 5th or 6th in points, I want to say. At least top 10. He's like top 10 in points. It's kind of like that year that Martin Truex Jr. barely got into the playoffs. He was technically the last car in because he didn't have a win, but he was having like a 5th or 6th place type of season in regular natural points. So it's just golly, man, if that happens and somehow Tyler Reddick gets knocked out, that's going to be crazy. Tyler Reddick, he can definitely put a win up though. So not necessarily too concerned about it from his perspective, but if it happens, man, that would be crazy. Let's see. Do you believe just read that one. I need SVG to win the championship for this year and the other 3 to crash out. Says OJ and Toothpaste. That would be a wild scenario. That might get some movement. So if SVG can make the Final 4, which is possible, right? There's some road courses in there. If he can survive the first round, if he can make the Final 4 somehow, and the other 3 crashed out and SVG won, or if SVG just puts the circle tracks together, let's just say he outright naturally wins it in that finale race, that would be maybe enough for them to take a look at changing some things. I don't know though. I don't know. Maybe the system should rotate every few years, use all different ones. That might be pretty exciting, says MGM. That would be something. I don't know. I think people would have a hard time keeping up with that. People need things to be the same because there would just be you'd be living in the land of confusion. Shout out to Phil Collins. As each different year there would be a different point system. As someone who is more pro playoffs than not, I thought Danielle and Larry were unprofessional and childish. The current system sucks. Conversations need to be had to improve it, says Jesse Daly. And that is thank you, Jesse. That's kind of where I was at with it. I understand that they want a playoff. I understand that they want that they think it's the better system, but acting like that is not going to bring anybody to your side. That's not a good argument just to act like you're above everybody because you have a different opinion. So the way that they presented it, you're not winning over hearts and minds with that type of behavior. So that's, and I was really, it's not like they're young. Like if they were like in their 20s, I could understand it. They're not though. So like, I just didn't understand the smarmy nature of it. It was really, really weird. Just, I don't know. It was a lot of weird energy as far as that goes. What comes first? The one lug nut for all series or a different fuel can, says Sir Wood Rooster? That is a great question. Probably the one lug nut would be my guess. I don't know how close we are to getting one fuel can unless we go to hybrids pretty soon. So I don't know. That's a good question. But I would say one lug nut is probably going to be first as far as that goes. If you look at the championship race rating is nothing special. And what was the last unbelievable game-changing moment we've seen in that race? Hey, that's a fair question. That's a fair question. Sources tell me Austin Hill has joined Ross Chastain and Brett Griffin on tour. It says in between the lanes. So there you go, in between the lanes, saying he's joining Brett Griffin and Ross Chastain on the IDGAF tour. I'm willing to bet Elliott wins the Watkins, says one wise guy. So, yeah, maybe Chase Elliott can win Watkins Glen. Certainly, at some point, he's going to figure it out on road courses with this car. Stu's crash is really bad. Says it's bad. Like, look, I've been doing racing stuff for a long time. That one is it's a tough one to watch. It's a tough one to watch. Thank God he survived. Deserved. Austin Hillary got the penalty. It says Enzo. Yeah. I think most people agree 100% on that. Brickyard Brickhead, what's up, my friend? At one time, sponsors needed NASCAR to sell products. Now NASCAR needs sponsors to sell their products. Says Brickyard. Hey, there you go. That's there's two sides to that coin for sure, right? There's definitely two different ways of looking at it. Yeah, NASCAR apparently needs the sponsors now more than the sponsors need NASCAR. Thoughts on Iowa, says one. I think Iowa is going to be a good change of pace. I think it's going to just be because we've had some road courses and stuff like that. Indianapolis wasn't necessarily a well-received race. I think it's going to be a good change of pace because there's going to be some passing and stuff like that. Shout out to Breakard, says in between lanes. Indeed. Shout out to Breakard, doing great stuff over there on his channel. I did a live stream tonight. His version of a podcast, he live streamed it tonight. So shout out to him. Hopefully he keeps that going because it looked the part of it I got to see was really well done. So go give him a watch next time he does one, or just watch his regular videos. I'm thinking San Diego will be bumpy using the old flight deck, says one wise guy. Yeah, so there's probably that. So there won't be elevation change, but the cars will have a lot of spots on the racetrack where they will unload because of the bumpiness. The car will get off the ground and unload the shocks and tires or whatnot. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting thing for them to chase too, especially in the Cup Series where these cars are so stiff. It's going to be and you've seen in some of the rougher tracks where they wear the little the mouth guard or whatever that I guess does force it to the driver. It's going to be interesting to see those as well. SVG rubbing his hands like Birdman for the San Diego street race. Lots of braking, says OJ and Toothpaste. So there you go. There's your put some respect on my name. SVG hand rub for the next street race. Danica busy changing tires on MSNBC, says one wise guy. Yes, she is. She's apparently very busy. Very busy. Bologna Burger, are they still making the 1/18th scale NASCAR diecast? Says Tennessee Smokey. The last one I saw, God, I can't even remember. It was a Jimmy Johnson, but I mean, I'm sure I'm wrong about that. But that was the last one I remember seeing. I haven't seen a 1/18th in a long time. The main place I see 1/18th scales are IndyCar, F1, and IMSA. I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I saw a NASCAR 1/18th scale. Put Jimmy Johnson in the 52 truck, says Joseph Food. Hey, there you go. There you go. Jimmy Johnson to trucks. He's tried trucks before. It did not end well for him with Randy Moss. I think he spun out. Shaw saying flatten FFS out. Correct. What's up, Sean? I give up. Flutagen, says Shaw. So there you go. Shaw. I think he's trying to. Oh, the Flutagen for Red Bull. I thought you were I thought you were breaking out a new language that you had learned. So there you go. What's up, Shaw? Good to see you on here, my man. LOL, you in fact did not give up, says one wise guy. There is the merch link there. The t-shirts are still $10 if you want to get the remainder. $10 t-shirts, saying one wise guy. So much appreciated, wise guys. So yeah, check out the merch shop if you're still wanting to get those. And I think we're going to have a new hat drop here for too long, if I'm not mistaken. Austin, what's up, Shaw? Austin Dillon was Brickyard 400 pick. Says in between the lanes. He had some speed there before he ran into somebody, and they never really acknowledged it, but I saw a green car and there was just smoke billowing from it in the background, and then like 2 laps later they acknowledged Austin Dillon went to the pits. Looks like he got into somebody. Chase Briscoe or Christopher Bell, if they would be great in Stewart's truck. Dirt guys, says James Waite. Yeah, I think those would be really good picks. I don't know if Joe Gibbs would let them, especially given the situation, which, I mean, I didn't want to get into all that because I'm just going to give it a day before we jump into that particular debate. But Joe Gibbs is not a guy that likes his drivers racing other stuff typically. The other poll question was who is the worst NASCAR? Oh, thank you. Let me write that down too. Worst NASCAR commentator. There we go. Appreciate you, my friend. Let's see. Appreciate you, Joseph Wooten. What is Flutagen, says Shah? That is the Red Bull event where they build gliders and see how far the gliders go out into the sea. But they're not regular gliders. Of course, they're all dressed up because there's a part of the scoring is the most unique design is judged as well too. But mostly it's just people building something really cool looking and then they immediately crash into the water. So that's the Flutagen from Red Bull. Bill must be the most level-headed to have on the panel, says one wise guy, for sure. Let's see. NBC USA for Iowa this weekend, says In Between the Lanes. Yeah, so this will be in NBC's first race of the season. So they are the keepers of the playoff championship race. Their first race of the year. MGM, if I was Logano, I would vote for a system change and then win another championship just to end the whole debate about whether or not he is a deserving champion, says MGM. So yeah, in Joey Logano's defense, a lot of people give him a lot of crap for the championship last year. But he was playing the system that was in front of him. If there was a different system in front of him, no doubt in the world that he runs differently, right? So, yeah, you can make all kinds of different arguments about it. He is a deserving champion because he won the system that was in front of him. I'm not arguing that. I just don't like the system. Like Joey Logano, definitely the champion last year. I just don't like the system. I think we need a different system. I guess all of the full-time drivers need a voice for that to be fair, just not a driver or two who won by way of run for teams that are usually in the Final Four or championship contention, says a Dirty Def. Yeah, that would that's probably a fair bet there. Or maybe they just do a round table of drivers, one driver for this race, one driver for that. How about Stuart Friesen's wife as the replacement driver? I think she has run a truck before. Yeah, she has for sure. She's made several truck starts. And I know at least at Bristol. I don't know exactly how many she's run on pavement, though. I'm not a super huge expert on the truck series. I usually miss those because I'm usually working. For instance, Joey Logano and Chase Elliott will have the opposite opinions on the point system, so we know what they would say on the committee because it benefits them, says Dirty Def. Yeah, for sure. I can see, like I said, both sides of that argument, no doubt about it. Riley Herbst winning the championship would make NASCAR change the system, says Joseph Wooten. Yeah, that would probably be a fair bet for sure. Earth 2, smoke fills in for the injured Stuart Friesen, says Jamie Schweitzer. Maybe. I don't know if Tony Stewart at one time seemed dead set against ever driving a Toyota. So we'll see. He drove one that one season and then immediately helped start up his own team. MLB trade deadline, NFL Hall of Fame game Thursday. There you go. NFL starting to crank up. A little preseason action coming at you. The attendance at Indy looked light, says Delmer Kaufman. Yeah, I didn't think it was great. But I think Breakhard was there. He said it was more people there than you could really see. So, I believe that because I've been at Martinsville when people were like, the attendance was light and like, in the concession stand area, you couldn't move because the concessions were just taking a lot of time. So I can see his argument there. And to his point, the place is really big. So maybe it was more packed than it looked like on TV. I have been in a situation like that. So unless you're there, it's hard to say. But from the TV perspective, it didn't look super packed. Was it me or did the stands look kind of empty? Yeah, looked empty from my perspective, but I wasn't there. Thoughts on the San Diego promo? Did you see bloopers behind the scenes, says In Between the Lanes? I did not see the bloopers. And I still, to be honest with you, I still haven't seen the promos. I got to catch up. I got to catch up on that stuff. I still haven't watched the Dale Earnhardt documentary on Prime either. So I need to watch that too. I watched maybe 1/4 of an episode and got distracted. Let's see. I wish the track didn't have the Frankenstein pavement at Iowa. I wish they could have gone to Wilkesboro type repave before last season, and it would already be getting better, says Dirty Def. Yeah, I think at some point they'll get it sorted out over there at Iowa. It always puts on a pretty good race, though, from what I remember. Thoughts on the IndyCar race? Congrats to Bubba. But I thought that may have been bottom 2 to 3 race out of the season. Yeah, the race itself wasn't great. But yeah, I don't know. One wise guy saying flex fit hats. Yes, we will offer some flex fit hats on the next one. It's going to be We'll get to it. We'll get to it. I don't want to get too far in front of it. I don't know how far they've gotten with it. So I'm thinking it's going to be soon, though. Then seen Natalie Decker was at the Outer Banks. Apparently, she only likes photos taken from the back, says Delmer Kaufman. So there you go. There's your Natalie Decker update for the day. Friesen's crash was the Ryan Newman of dirt. I'm glad the outcome wasn't any worse than it was. I watch him up at Fonda every year. Dude is world class in dirt modifies. Says Jesse Daly. Yeah, as far as dirt racers go, he is one of the all timers for sure, no doubt about it. And yeah, it was it's a bad crash. It's a bad crash. There's just no way around that. What track do you think has the highest probability to have a new winner before the playoffs? Says Dirty Def. Well, Daytona. That would be my guess there. Brickyard 400 was a Jeff Gordon spirited fan base. Bring him back, and you'll get 200,000 butts. Says Brickyard Brickhead. Hey, there you go. Maybe that's part of it, and part of it is they just don't promote it like they used to. Like it's just another race. It doesn't feel like the Brickyard 400. If you remember the Brickyard 400 from the 90s and early 2000s, it was an event. Now it's just like another race. So a lot of that's on NASCAR. Lee Diffie leading us to the green at Iowa. Indeed. Diehard Petty fan here, but Richard was not a good commentator. Oh yeah. We found that out the hard way, but it is what it is. He won a lot of races. He doesn't necessarily have to be good at talking about it or telling you how he did it. Chris Meyer has to be the worst for NASCAR, says James Waite. I've been watching Red Bull Soapbox with Dale Jr. and Mike Bagley. That's who the other guy is. Appreciate you, Dirty Diff. And I've enjoyed it. Some courses are more fun to watch than others. Yeah, it's a really cool. I like it too. And you can actually go watch it on the Red Bull YouTube channel. They got some of the old ones on that one too. So I've always liked that one. Any soapbox derby. I think it's just a cool feat of engineering, what people can come up with, especially the Red Bull one. Some of those, just how they're held together, because they're going for style and speed. Lucky the weather is cooling off this weekend. It has been 115-degree heat index for the last 5 days, says Mark Barnum. Yep, it's been a rough one. Pretty much across most of the U.S. Big late model stock and pro late model race coming up. Will you or any cars you work with be there? I will not be at Hickory working, but we will see. We will see what happens as to whether or not I'm actually going to show up there and maybe film something. Actually, Chase Elliott suggested the system in which he didn't win a championship, says MGM. So there you go. Chase Elliott kind of agreeing with fans as far as that goes. NASCAR should at least make a points place minimum to get in the playoffs. Surely NBC would have a problem with that, because wouldn't have a problem with that because it should make their product better with higher quality playoff field. Maybe that's the big change that NASCAR was teasing that they might be making. So maybe that is maybe that's the deal for next year. Maybe NASCAR should follow other sports leagues and have a postseason conference to discuss rules, car specs, and racing venues, says Tennessee Smokey. They used to do it. I think they've got the in-season committee now. But at the end of the day, NASCAR just seems to do what NASCAR. They're like, thanks for your input. We're going to continue to do what we want to do. And that is what NBC tells us to do. So that seems to be how they've gone about all their business here recently. Even the car. People told them the car was not safe. They didn't listen. People finally got hurt. And then they're like, all right, I guess we'll change the car now. That's just my current feeling on how NASCAR has been handling things. What's your grade for TNT's broadcast this season? It was not as bad as people made it out to be. It was their first swing at it in a long time. I think they'll improve and get better. They followed Amazon. That was part of the problem. I'd put them right there with Fox and NBC, though, because it's not great, but they weren't any worse than NBC or Fox. So probably on par with them, but not close to Amazon. Would I guess a C minus, close to a D, which is where I would put Fox and NBC. Speaking of C-Bell, the dude has been a menace on the track the last 2 races. His misjudgment was so bad. It looked like he intentionally right-hooked Zane. Not intentional, but damn, wake up, dude, says Jesse Daly. Yeah, that was bad. To me, it looked intentional, but it wasn't on second look. But, man, that was so bad. So freaking bad. What's Austin Dillon's numbers for Iowa? Are you talking he's running the 21 for Xfinity. If you're talking about Let's see. Not looking good. Average. He's got a 40. He's got a ranking of 49. Where the best driver, Ryan Blaney, has a ranking of 146. So almost a full, according to driver averages, how they score things, so almost a full 100 points, which is a lot, according to driver averages. So not looking super sporty for fantasy there. Which, by the way, One Wise Guy is leading right now. TNC, I think I'm in 4th or 6th place, somewhere around there. Overall season points. TNC better than Fox, just saying, says James Waite. Yeah, marginally. But I think there's a lot, and it's just their first year, right? So they can obviously get a lot better. Fox has been doing this for a long time, and they've found ways to get worse. In the weekly NASCAR fan council questionnaire, there were a lot of questions on opinions on San Diego race being on a military base and whether they should make it a one and done thing, says Jamie Schweitzer. That'll be interesting to see how all that plays out for sure. Is it going to be a regular thing? Is it going to be one and done? I don't know. Those are great questions. Is it a fill-in race until they can get something figured out at Chicago? All kinds of questions swirling there. Storms rolling across Iowa the next few days, says Mark Barnums. Check out, if you're in Iowa, check out the storms and make sure you're safe from them. What Cup races you heading to before the end of the year, says Kevin. I'm thinking about Richmond and possibly Darlington, but those are they're up in the air right now. I got to look at my schedule and see if everything works out for that. Yeah, Mr. Consistent would hate the old Winston Point system. LOL, says Dirty Def. Yeah, I'm sure he would hate it terribly. Is anyone ever happy with the weather? So hot, cold, wet today, says Shah. Yep, that's part of the fun of bitching about the weather, Shah. Would be wild if Hocevar wins Daytona, says MGM. Yeah, for sure. Or any other race. Like, he's capable of winning any other race too, right? So anybody deep in the points winning Daytona definitely shakes things up. You're never safe. You're never safe at Daytona. All the broadcasts are the same because I watch them on mute, says Mark Barnum. And make no doubt about it, there will be no riding around at Daytona because they'll be trying to make that. They'll be trying to make the playoffs. I'm happy. So the move is put on PRN or MRN and sync it up with the race and watch it that way. I'm happy, Shy. It's been in the 80s here, or is it a NASCAR fan thing? Never happy, says Shy. NASCAR fans are very, very peculiar. They're very picky. They like things a certain way. So yes, we do like to voice our opinion when we don't like things, myself included. Let's see. I think, and One Wise Guy, he's bragging about that California weather up there, talking about the 80s. I think it's time for Fox to let Michael Waltrip go, says Delmer Kaufman. Michael Waltrip, polarizing. He's sort of like Dick Vitale. You either like him or you don't, right? BB said he was coming down for the crown, and he wasn't kidding, says One Wise Guy. Coming for the crown, and he wasn't kidding. I put all the uproar about TV broadcast up here with a lot of track drama. Some of it is overblown. Yeah. A lot of it is just for, just, I'm not going to say clickbait, but for engagement farming. That's probably a better word. A lot of it is for engagement farming, no doubt about it. I got the lead by 1 point, says One Wise Guy. Oh, that's right. It is a tight one. It is a tight one for sure. Let's see. I will be at Darlington and Martinsville, says Daryl Kaufman. I mean, Martinsville is always a opportunity for me to go there, but I've been there so many times. I'm trying to skip a few Martinsville races to make it more enjoyable. We'll be getting a new clockmaker. The clockmaker for Martinsville has moved on. But yeah, Martinsville is always a good one to go to. Better enjoy it for this 1 week. One Wise Guy, says Jesse Daly. I know you like Dick Trickle. Any thoughts on Sterling Marlin, says Jamie Schweitzer. Sterling Marlin, he had a very interesting career. He was there for a long period of time before he got that first win. But then when he started getting wins, he reeled them off. Dick Trickle got to the Cup Series later in his career. Dick Trickle definitely would have won some races in the Cup Series if he had got there, had an opportunity to get there in his prime in a decent car. But yeah, Sterling Marlin, great driver. Dick Trickle, great driver as well. I think they both should be remembered for their merit. Sterling Marlin, so close to winning the championship at times, couldn't ever get it done, and but has a lot of Daytona 500s to show for it. So definitely, I think Sterling Marlin's a Hall of Famer. I hope they find a way to get to, Dick Trickle in the Hall of Fame too. Working on any projects, BB? I'm always working on something. Got one video buttoned up for something else. And yes, I'll be working on. I'm working on a pretty big project for this channel, and that's been going on for like about a year and some change now. So I'll be happy when that one's finally done. I think Hocevar really runs well at Richmond, but yeah, he'll have a chance at several of these tracks coming up. Says Dirty Def. Oh yeah, Hocevar never count him out. Waltrip has always lost. It's kind of old now. Says one wise guy. Yeah, he's sort of living out the commercial now. I'm at the wrong track. He's at times living that out, but he's good fun. It just depends on where you fall on that. You know, do you like the hokey Fox type of coverage, or do you not like it? It just depends on where you fall on that. You know what Catskills says, one wise guy. Catskills, I think, is in second place, if I'm not mistaken. I remember in the fantasy league. I remember when we only had 5 minutes of on-track racing on Wide World of Sports. I won't complain about the broadcast as Dummer Kaufman. Exactly. It's all relative, right? If you're old enough to remember when you had to watch the races on VHS because you didn't have satellite and your uncle would tape it for you, that type of thing. So it's all relative, right? And people are like, oh, we got to chase the race over here and here and here. That was like all of the 80s and 90s. You had to chase it here, here, and here before ESPN had the vast majority of the coverage, like, and broken up with TNT, or was it TNN at the time? So yeah, it's been an evolution. It was easy for a long time, and now it's gotten hard again. So it's everything old is new again type of situation. Spot on about engagement farming. I appreciate you not dwelling on it for 10 plus minutes like some shows do. It was what it is. Says Dirty Def. Yeah, it's just, they said something crazy and the whole internet blew up about it, and now it won't be remembered in a couple days, right? Until somebody brings up the playoffs again and somebody fires off. You remember when they said something about Mark Martin, or you remember when they said something about Denny Hamlin? That's the only time it'll really get rehashed. Let's see. Favorite paint schemes of the year so far? Oh, that's a good question. Oh man, I'd have to really think on that one, dude. Ross has had some really good ones, but Ross always has good ones. Man, the slushy car for Kyle Busch and the 7-Eleven car for Kyle Busch sort of popped to mind for sure. The Zach Brown car that Kyle Larson is fixing to run in a few weeks is going to be a good one too. I like the gold. I like gold. Josh Berry with the throwback to the Indy 500 for throwback day at Darlington. That was a good one. Because I never knew the Wood Brothers connection to that paint scheme, so that was a good one. There's been a few. I'm gonna have to go back and look on them. That's warn me in the Discord, so I can prepare for that one. I'll have to go back and look at some paint schemes. Will Pepsi sponsor a car anytime soon? Says Jamie Schweitzer. Oh, that's a good question. They seem to have backed off, and even Dr. Pepper has pulled out this year. Who I think you'll see step in, it seems like now that Red Bull and Monster are in there, it seems like Rockstar has some ideas about running a car. You've seen on Eric Jones's car, you've seen some associate sponsor from Rockstar. So I feel like the next beverage manufacturer that you'll see jump in there is going to be energy drinks. And I think Rockstar, you're going to see a Rockstar car before you see probably a different type of soda. And maybe Mountain Dew gets interested in sponsoring a Cup car again. Those would be my two guesses. Did you guys get the wind damage repaired? Yes, we're good to go as far as that goes. Best paint scheme is anyone that Bubba wads up, says Mark Barnum, so he's not a Bubba fan. I missed Sunday morning show. Any thoughts on Hulk Hogan and his passing? Hey, look, he was the reason. A lot of people watched wrestling. A lot of people didn't care for his personal opinions in his personal life, which is very understandable. But as far as the character of Hulk Hogan, I think a lot of people will always. It depends on who you are. Some people can separate those things. Some people don't separate those things. But if you separate those things, I think the character of Hulk Hogan, I think a lot of people will remember fondly. Although a lot of people might not like. The person, some of the values the person himself had. I separate those two things personally. So I still watch movies with people that aren't necessarily super cool in real life, but I still watch the movie because the movie was good and they're playing a character in that movie. So it is what it is. It just depends on how you're set up And as far as music goes, if you only listen to musicians who weren't somehow or weren't good people, there would be a lot of music you wouldn't listen to. So it's all in how you want to navigate it and stuff like that. But yeah, Hulk Hogan, I think the character and what he stood for, what the character stood for, I think was overall, that was a positive message. Unfortunately, I don't know if anybody could have lived up to the Hulk Hogan mythos of the character though. So, but yeah, he's the reason a lot of people watch wrestling. So he'll always definitely be remembered for that. The full schedule released yet? I don't think so. The Daily Downfords, which is a parody of the Daily Downforce, released a fake schedule, and I think that got a few people. So I'm not sure if the actual schedule has been released yet, though. My favorite has to be the green car ran by the Wood Brothers. Yep, that's one I was referencing. Why is Noah Gregson struggling so far? I don't know. He's having a bad year though, for sure. OJ, it's been a rough one. My bad. I was talking about all the complaints about the TV broadcast and how people dwell on it. Says dirty. Oh yeah. You either like it or you don't. I mean, you can always put it on mute. I never let that type of stuff bother me. That's why I find the commentator stuff interesting, because I never even really pay attention to the commentators. I'm more visual, so I'm just kind of looking at what's going on track. That's why I like going to the races better than watching them on TV, because I can pick out and look at what I want to look at on the racetrack. There's the Discord link right there from one wise guy. Mountain Dew has been on Legacy Cars, Pepsi product, says Delmer Kaufman. It has, and so has Rockstar earlier this year as well. 7 or 77 should have 7-Up sponsors on them, says Jamie Schweitzer. It is an opportunity being missed for sure. Marlon's first win at age 37. Jarrett win 34. Gantz win at 42. Those days are long gone, says Jesse Daly. Seems like it for sure. Back in the day, 30 was kind of like your rookie season. You sort of averaged age 30 as far as that goes. Do you think Reddick could go winless this season? I don't think so. I think he'll end up getting a win before it's all said and done. King of the Hill, whether he wins before the playoffs or after the playoffs, that's the question, right? King of the Hill sponsoring an Xfinity and Cup Car 2 in Iowa. That'll be cool. I look for the paint scheme preview thing. I didn't see it. The NASCAR.com doesn't have it up yet, or I couldn't find it at least yet. What do you see in public and behind closed doors are two different things, says one wise guy. Indeed. That's well said. I want Reddick to go winless and then win the championship race just to screw the chase system. For sure. I'm all for as much playoff controversy as possible so that hopefully we get a better system in the future. Eric Jones, Toyota guy, might be all right in a truck, says James White. Indeed. That would be a good fit for sure. John Hunter Nemechek's really good in trucks too. So maybe you just bounce off legacy guys, because I think Cup guys only get 5 starts. So do Eric Jones for 5 races, do John Hunter Nemechek for 5 races, then whoever else. I feel the same way. I try not to allow an actor or musician's opinion to affect how I feel about their work. Yeah, that's kind of where I stand on it, because just my overall opinion, as far as we'll use. Who's a good one? We'll use Green Day. As an example. A lot of people don't like their political opinion, right? Like a lot of people on the opposite side of their political views. Like, I'm not listening to Green Day because I don't like their political opinion. I never even think about it. I listen to the songs I like because I don't care, who you vote for, who you don't vote for. I don't give a shit. Honestly, I wish people wouldn't even talk about it, because I don't care. Nobody's ever changed anybody's opinion on who to vote for by constantly talking about politics. So I've always found that funny. But yeah, I don't let any of that stuff affect me. But some people do, and I understand that too. That is their prerogative, and they can do what they want to do. Shout out to Bobby Brown. Did you like the movie Big Daddy? I just watched it over the weekend. Laughing my butt off, says OJ. Yeah, that's a good one, dude. Adam Sandler had some bangers back in the day. I need to watch Happy Gilmore too. I haven't seen that one yet. I heard that one's out on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. I missed the Make 7 Up Yours campaign, says Charlotte. Yeah, that was what, 2001, somewhere in there. King of the Hill, August 4th on Hulu. There you go. King of the Hill back in action. Will Ross get out of this funk at Iowa, says Dirty Def? As long as he doesn't run into anything, I think so. I was never a Hulk Hogan fan, was devastated when he teamed up with Macho Man, which knocked Randy Savage off of my favorite, says Charlotte Ander. So there you go. I was a big Boss Man guy. I liked him. I liked the Ultimate Warrior, but he seemed to only wrestle at pay-per-views. And then I just sort of I liked Sting before he went to the Crow look. I always like the ones with bright colors. Coco Beware because he had the parrot. Junkyard Dog because he was from North Carolina. Macho Man for sure. Especially once he got into the Slim Jim era, I was like, oh yeah, because I loved the Slim Jim back in the day. So yeah, Macho Man for sure. Let's see who else back then. I don't know. Oh, the Bushwhackers. The Bushwhackers, legit. The Bushwhackers were my team for sure, and of course, like Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. Let's see, but Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan were never like top favorites, but I did like them. Let's see, Undertaker, big Undertaker fan. Let's see. I think Iowa could be a toss-up, honestly, for sure, dude. Iowa, you never know. Iowa kind of reminds me of a track like you remember the year, I think it was New Hampshire, where Eric Almirola walked in there and just totally blew up the playoffs because he had been decent all season, but he just went out there and absolutely wore him out. I feel like somebody at Iowa could hit the setup better than anybody else and just could absolutely wear him out. I see Iowa being a track like that for sure. What if Austin Dillon right hooks while replacing Austin Hill in Iowa, says Jamie Schweitzer. That would be interesting. So let's take it. I know you're being funny, but let's take it a step beyond that. If he right hooks somebody in the Xfinity series and gets suspended, does that carry over to the Cup series? Would he be suspended in the Cup series? That's the real question, is it not? So that would be super interesting. That would be super interesting from that perspective. Is GMS coming back to truck? Would they have anything to do with Legacy Motor Club? GMS is racing something. And it's so Spencer Gallagher can race, essentially. So I don't know if they would have an association with Legacy or not, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see how all that plays out. Do you think the bracket should return? If so, what changes, if any, do you think should be made? So it had, because of Ty Dillon saving it, let's call it like it is. If it wasn't for Ty Dillon, I don't know if it comes back, but I think it will come back. And I think there's some things. Iceberg, I was talking about it. I watched his episode. He made some good points on it. So I want to give a shout out to Iceberg. Check out his episode on that. But I'm going to kind of take an idea away from him where he, or borrow an idea, whatever you want to call it. He said that it was loved and it was hated, but it was, at the end of the day, it got a lot of pop and a lot of buzz behind it. So, and it has room for improvement, right? There are things about it that can be improved. So from that perspective and that aspect of it, I do agree with him 100%. I thought he had a good take on that, a good point. So yeah, 100%. I think it will be back, and I think they'll make a few adjustments with it for sure. Yes, Netflix with really good reviews, says one wise guy. So there you go. Happy Gilmore 2 on Netflix. Check it out if you want to watch Happy Gilmore 2. I'm gonna peruse that one at my leisure. M saying, why in the world would you put AD in an Xfinity car when you have KB, the GOAT of Xfinity, Richard doing Richard things, says M. That's an interesting perspective. I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, that is an interesting perspective on that for sure. Watch Happy Gilmore this weekend, says Mark Barnum. Sounds good. We'll do. Why in the world would you a double comment? So it posted your comment twice, but yeah, I don't know why they made that move for sure. Boss Man had, as far as Austin Dillon instead of Kyle Busch, Boss Man had the best sidewalk slam. Indeed. I love Big Boss Man back in the day, dude. Cobb County, Georgia. Ray Traylor, I think was his real name. Anybody seen F1? Is it good? La Parka. You remember La Parka? That was a good character too. Flying Brian Pillman, he was a good one too. Anybody seen F1? Is it good? I've heard a lot of people that aren't necessarily race fans. They watched F1 and they thought it was good. All of the race fans that have watched it have had the same opinion that all this and that wasn't exactly how it should be and things like that. So I think it depends on who you are. If you're like an F1 casual, I think you'll be okay. I think the people who are super locked into F1 and stuff like that, I don't think that they'll necessarily like it because they'll nitpick, that's not right or this is not right. That seems to be the two takeaways I've had from it. But other than that, I think most people have thought it was at least a decent movie, despite what perspective they have on it. Not yet. MGM says one wise guy. I was a Sid and Razor Ramon, dude. Razor Ramon was awesome. Yeah, I forgot all about him. Rest in peace. Back in the day before SCSA showed up in the late 90s. If you like comedy and want to laugh your butt off, Miss Brown's Boys. It's an Irish TV series on BBC. Oh, dude, they've got some bangers overseas or what across the pond. They got some good across the pond content on Netflix for sure. Oh my God, the Bushwhackers. I forget the inappropriate nicknames my brother and I had for them, says Charlotte Ander. So the Sheep Herders as they were known before they made it to WWE. But yeah, and they were a totally different gimmick as the Sheep Herders, but the Bushwhackers, they were good fun, man. The Bushwhackers versus the Nasty Boys was always like one of the best tag team matchups of all time. Legion of Doom too, like we can't forget them, right? LOD. Who gets first on Earth 2 this weekend, says one wise guy. That's a great question. I don't know. Your thoughts? I guess I'll have to watch how they qualify before I make that pick. Your thoughts on a good altcast team of broadcasters, says Brickyard Brickhead. Oh, altcast. Corey LaJoy would be good on that particular deal. I'm just gonna go glass case of emotion. Like, so Corey LaJoy, then put in Kim Kuhn as like your moderator type position, because she did that pretty well on Glass Case back when that was a thing. And then who would we counter Corey LaJoy with? Who's a retired Mark Martin would be the pick, but I don't know if he would do it. Who would be in there that would give a good opinion that's okay with talking? Kevin Harvick seems more buttoned up in PC. I thought he was going to be more like opinion based, but he seems like, I'm getting paid by NASCAR, I'm not going to talk bad about him. He seems to be in that camp, which is fine. He's probably getting paid millions to have that opinion. Man, who's somebody that would let it rip? Like Mark Martin would be the pick. Like Mark Martin, Corey LaJoy, and somebody like Kim Kuhn moderating would probably be the move for sure. Let's see. It should carry over. Remember, KFB got parked for the weekend after Hornaday. Good point. And I think Kevin Harvick for jumping on Greg Biffle too. Mark Martin is right about the point system. Says 700. Yeah, 100%. I agree with you 100%. I agree with Mark Martin 100%. But unfortunately, it's not going to. NASCAR just doesn't seem to be listening to us these days. Have you ever seen Wrestling with Shadows about Bret Hart leaving WWF? Hard to find a better documentary about the wrestling business back in the day. For sure. It's one of the better ones. I haven't seen it all the way through ever, but I've seen parts of it, and it's well done for sure. The Von Erich story with the guy from Baywatch, what's his name? Anyway, he plays one of the Von Erich brothers, and he's really good. And then the guy from... what's the movie with the redheaded guy? No, not the TV series. Anyway, those guys are both really good in it. Let's see. Would you say JHN is improving all around? Thoughts on his season? John Nemechek, when he can finish races, finishes them well. He just doesn't seem to be able to get to the end of enough races. Like, you've seen it. When he finishes the races, it's up there in the top 15 almost every single time. He's just, you know who he reminds me of to an extent? He reminds me of Robbie Gordon. When Robbie Gordon had more raw freaking talent than just about any type of race car driver I've ever seen in my life. But for whatever reason, he could not finish races. But when he finished races, he finished up front. John Hunter Nemechek reminds me of that a whole lot. Like, he's got a lot of natural ability, but he has got to finish races. Carson Hocevar is in that same boat as well. But Carson Hocevar is younger, or at least not as he doesn't have as many races as John Hunter Nemechek does in the Cup Series. So the jury's still out. Both guys are still young. Both guys can still get better, but they've got to finish races for sure. Shout out to Iceberg. Indeed, shout out to Iceberg. Always doing a great job over there on his channel. In the weekly NASCAR fan council questionnaire, I suggested having the ISC have 2 races for each broadcast partner's part of the season. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that for sure. That would probably be a fair way of doing it. I don't know. I've never really given that a ton of thought, but I can see where you're going with that. Damn it! Now part of me wants to see Austin Dillon right hook somebody at Iowa just to see how NASCAR will handle it, says Joseph Wooten. Laparca with the steel chair, says one wise guy. Indeed, Laparca always bringing the steel chair into the action. Doink the clown. Doink the Clown, Don't Mess Around. Doink the Clown was a good one too. That was some sick theme music too. Let's see. I think Richard put Dylan in the car so that people would keep saying Austin Hill by mistake. And said that there's more engagement, says Sir Wood Rooster. I think it's already gotten a few people. I think a few people have misread it. I think I was on the Discord and somebody misread it, and I was, I thought it said Austin Hill. I read that too fast or something. F1 movie sucked. Way too much drama, says Enzo. Hey, so there you go. Enzo did not like it. So there you go. You've got an official opinion from somebody who's seen it. Calling it GMS moving into the old Petty Enterprises shop with a return of Dodge, says Delmer Kaufman. That would be pretty cool. What if Petty GMS comes back just in the truck series? That would be sick, dude. I'd love to see a 43 truck. And then whatever Spencer Gallagher is going to drive. I can't wait for the inevitable Austin Hill on call on broadcast, says Charlotte. That would be pretty cool if he got in there. Jake the Snake. Oh, yeah, dude. Good call. Jake the Snake was a good one, dude. Heck yeah. Luke and Butch, for sure. Luke and Butch, the Bushwhackers. Ward Burton for the alt cast. And Kyle. Oh, that's a good one, OJ. OJ. Heck yeah, dude. Ricky Steamboat with his belt over his shoulder yelled at me and others for smoking 420 with his stepdaughter in his house in 85, says Jamie Schweitzer. There you go. Jamie Schweitzer getting some real dragon action going on there from Steamboat. He didn't like the steam coming from you guys that day, apparently. Let's see. Anybody seen Brian Knobs lately? I remember he was in bad shape 20 years ago on Hogan Knows Best back in the day. I haven't heard too much from him. Hopefully he's okay. I missed Last Case of Emotion. It seemed Kim Kuhn was the only one that still wanted to be there that last season. I think it just Ryan Blaney is an introvert, and I think that was just too much for him, for sure. But they had a good the first few seasons before it got on TV. It was really, really good. It just seemed TV took a little bit of the snap away from it. I think they couldn't be as open, and we obviously know why that is, because you're getting paid by NASCAR. They're going to make you toe the line. Kyle Petty's will talk for sure, says Kyle Petty will talk for sure, says Delmer. Yeah, all for sure. Kyle Petty, he's not afraid of an opinion. Bobby Labonte on the alt cast. Bobby Labonte would be a good one for sure. Helping out, he's helping out this year with the Sellers brothers and Mad Max over there, trying to get him to stop running into people. Yeah, Iceberg has cleaned up most of the editing errors that turned me off, says Charlotte. There you go. Iceberg dialing his game in, showing his face on some of the episodes now too, which I approve of. Good for him. Always doing a great job over there. Mick Foley is the GOAT. Oh yeah. That's the real question. Cactus Jack or one of his other characters. Who was your favorites? Mankind, Cactus Jack, Mick Foley, or Dude Love? What was your favorite Mick Foley character? Is IHOP better than Denny's? That's a great question. I'm gonna go with skip both of them, because there's so much salt, just so much salt. Both of them are better than Waffle House, though. I would take both of those over Waffle House. I'm going to give the edge to Denny's, because Denny's has the What the Frick's Up Denny's viral YouTube clip when that band was playing a show in Denny's. So I'm going to give the nod to Denny's there, because their theme song goes hard. Sounds like the Oddities theme as well, says Dirty Def. It was a very similar theme for sure. I read Hill, LOL, says I read Hill, LOL, says one wise guy. Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant was a good one. Stone Cold. Yeah, how could we? Yeah, everybody in the 90s loved Stone Cold and still loves Stone Cold for sure. Stone Cold getting it done for sure. Saved the WWE. Made it through the podcast without ads. Amazing, says Delmer Kaufman. And made it through the podcast without having to restart it. Knock on wood. Live stream, whatever you want to call it. I want Green Sonoma in the beginning of the year, says OJ and Toothpaste. That would be really cool. I heard Knobs was with DDP Yoga now. That's good, man. DDP, shout out to him. I didn't like him as a wrestler, but shout out to him for getting all these guys back in better shape. I think Chuck was part of the Glass Case of Emotion. I can't think of his last name. Says In Between the Lanes. I can't remember. Earth 2, Denny's sponsors Denny Ham. That would be a sick sponsorship. Denny's and Denny Hamlin. That would be pretty tough. King of the Hill sponsors Austin Hill. That would be good too. Stunning Steve Austin, says one wise guy. The Hollywood Blondes, stunning Steve Austin and flying Brian Pillman. King of the Hill is coming back with another series. You think it'll be good? I hope it is, Brett, for sure. And it'll be the last ride for was it John Redcorn? That'll be the last ride for that voice actor. I think all his stuff had been finished recording by the time that, unfortunately, whatever happened to him happened to him. I'm still not 100% sure what happened with all that, other than somebody used a hole puncher. Let's see. What diecast do you have you ordered so far? I've ordered the Red Bull win for sure. And anybody from RCR or if the 43 at Legacy wins, I'll order one of those as well. And if Kyle Busch had won, or I'm sorry, if Kyle Larson had won with the Indy paint scheme at the Brickyard, I probably would have bought that one too. DDP has done miracles for people, says Dirty Death. For sure. We get Dale for a few episodes, says One Wise Guy. That'll be pretty cool. Because if you remember, his dad was on one episode, so that's a legacy thing that we'll continue over there. So that's pretty cool for sure. I didn't know that. Good on you, One Wise Guy, for dropping that on me. My grandmother was a huge fan of the original Gorgeous George in 1950s wrestling, says Jamie Schweitzer. There you go. So I'm not familiar with him, but there was definitely some big ones back in the day. I remember WCW when it came on TBS, like Beautiful Bobby Eaton, Larry Zbyszko or something like that. There were some guys back then that were absolute technicians. The Fabulous Freebirds, that was another one. So there was some WCW guys too that weren't necessarily as big a names as WWE guys that sort of fell to the wayside and people forgot. Austin Hill is Bobby Hill in real life. You could say doppelganger in between the lanes. That'll be interesting to see if anybody memes that up before the year is out after that drops. Thanks for the hard work, BB. Appreciate you. Thank you, Enzo. Appreciate you as always. Charlotte, shout out to Chick Bush. You are correct. Chuck Bush or Chick Bush. It says in between the lanes. There you go. Rodney Sandcastle. Rodney Sandcastle needs like a I don't know, a fake podcast or something going on too. I can see that being something. Bobby Eaton from Huntsville, Alabama. He passed away. I did not know that. Crazy. I did not know that. Dang. George ran a lot of P&W in the 50s and 60s. The guy I remember from, I don't know if it's 50s or 60s, but they used to talk about Harley Race. They said he had a bad reputation. I'm gonna leave it at that. A lot of people didn't think too kindly of him. If you watch some of the, I guess, shoot interviews, the Four Horsemen, says Jamie Schweitzer. Indeed, Four Horsemen. Every iteration of the Four Horsemen was good. Lex Luger was the one I grew up with. There was always one member. They rotated out. Lex Luger was the guy that was rotated in when I was keeping up with it. So the Lex Luger Four Horsemen era was a pretty good one. Brickyard saying thanks, bud. No problem, my friend. Always glad to do it. Pacific Northwest, says One Wise Guy. Let's see. I think someone on Instagram put Bobby Hill and Austin Hill's. Oh, somebody's already memed it up. Bobby Hill and Austin Hill's fire suit. Giving Austin Hill hell. That's crazy, man. Oh, just don't let him find out who you are, because he's a right good sized lad. He's not as super tall as you would think he is, but damn if he ain't, he's as wide as he is tall. It's going to pack a lunch if you're trying to whip his ass. There's no doubt about that. Vince McMahon screwed up wrestling. It was so much better when there was a whole bunch of different associations out there, says PC Gone Road. Yeah, when everybody had like a territory, for sure. But in Vince's defense, and I'm not defending him at all, but his vision of it did bring it to more people as far as TV. He made it bigger, but didn't necessarily make it better, for sure. Because he took, the reason it was better back then is he just took all the superstars from everybody's region, and that's why it was so good back then. Then you no longer had the development in each region, so now it got watered down eventually, is basically what happened. The King Harley Race said that they said was one of the toughest dudes ever. Said you didn't play Mercy with him for real, or he would crack your fingers, says Dirty Death. For sure. He had some other stuff about him. I'll talk to you about it in the Discord. I'll just post the interview of what the guy said. No rain for Iowa. Good night, BB. Thanks, sir. Good night to you, Jamie Schweitzer. Hey, have a good one. Blackjack Mulligan was a famous 70s wrestler, says Delmer Kaufman. Indeed. Wasn't that who was Jake the Snake's dad? There was somebody. It was a Blackjack somebody. I don't know if it was Mulligan or somebody. There was a Black Bart or somebody like that. I don't know. He was Jake the Snake's father. There's crazy documentaries on Jake the Snake too. Ross Chastain versus Austin Hill. Who wins in a pit road fight? So if it ends in the first round, I'll give it to Austin Hill. But if it goes the distance, I feel like Ross Chastain's going to get him with cardio and just sheer meanness. Like Ross Chastain, he's really quiet, but you can tell he's got he's a wire. He's like sometimes there's a guy that doesn't look big, but you can tell he's just he's built differently. And I feel like Ross has that Florida man in him. Like he's not going to quit. Like he's just going to keep going. One of those small guys that's got like surprisingly good strength. Like if you remember when he cracked Noah Gragson in the face and you saw Noah Gregson's ears wiggle, that's how you know he generates some power with a punch. And you also learned that Noah Gragson has a heck of a chin. If it doesn't work out for him in racing, maybe he can get some serious training because you don't want to stop all the punches with your face. But he can definitely eat some. We saw that for sure. Vince did it before someone else did, so they're for sure. Basically, he was just the first one to do it. Delmer was that wrestler with the wild eyes, says Jamie Schweitzer. Vader Valet was Harley in WCW, says one wise guy. I forgot about that, but you're right. Just bought a Sundrop Dale Jr. signed replica helmet on the weekend at NASCAR Series Canada. That's cool, man. I've been to other races, but I've never seen autographed helmets. Are they common at races? They've sort of got these mini helmets now. That are popping up, and I'm not going to collect them because I don't need to collect anything else at all. But yeah, they're pretty cool, and I have seen some full size helmets. So there are on occasion they have them for sure. On DBC, someone said that to fight Austin Hill, they would start running from the studio and then wind up to clock him when he looked away. Says Charlotte, yeah, he's a good sized boy. No doubt about that. Yeah, Jake the Snake was his son, says Dummer Kaufman. Grizzly Smith, says one wise guy. Remember Ross and Noah? Yeah, Ross and Noah was a good one. He was the PDF file, says one wise guy. Shout out to Ross, says Rosie. Jake talking about Grizzly Smith, I think. Jake the Snake's dad was Grizzly Smith. He's a lot worse than Harley. Yeah, he's the PDF file that they're referring to there. Still hilarious when Ross was laughing at Joey after Chicagoland when Joey was raising his voice. LOL. Indeed. Let's see. Noah's ears jiggle. Priceless, says Charlotte. Indeed. Grizzly Smith was Jake the Snake's father. Who could take Jeffrey Earnhardt in a fight? That would be the real fight right there because he's got some MMA training. Brett Shaw, later BB, thanks again. Always good to have you on here, Brett. You take them easy there. Harley pulled a hole puncher on Hulk Hogan while Hulk was on the throne. I've heard both of them say that happened. Ended up working together. LOL, says Dirty Duff. Yeah, Harley race was a piece of work. Depending on who you ask. So, all right, there you go. Looks like we reached the end of it. Final results of the poll question: 76% preferred the soapbox over the Flutagen for the Red Bull event. Jeffrey Earnhardt versus Jeb Burton would be a good one, says Charlotte. Let you get some rest later, bud. Take them easy, one wise guy. And Delmer Kaufman saying peace. All right, until the next one, y'all take them easy.